She told me she was going on a business trip, 3 days in California, workshops, meetings, nothing unusual. I trusted her. I didn't stalk her phone. I didn't question her late replies. Then my brother, who runs a hotel in Hawaii, called out of nowhere. His voice sounded confused. "Hey, your wife just checked in here, alone, under her maiden name, and she's with someone." The world didn't spin. It froze. She flew across the ocean to cheat, thinking no one we knew would ever see her. She didn't know my brother manages the entire resort. She didn't know he had cameras. She didn't know everything she hid was about to become evidence. But before I tell you what happened that day, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. After I found out, everything inside me went quiet. My brother's voice still rang in my ears as I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the packed suitcase my wife claimed was for a business trip to California. Hawaii. She flew across the ocean to be with another man, and she thought no one would ever know. She didn't even bother hiding under our last name. She used her maiden name, like she wanted to erase me while she slept in someone else's arms. I called my brother again. "Are you sure?" I asked. He sighed. "I wish I wasn't." She checked into one of the oceanfront suites. She wasn't alone. Some guy, mid-30s, business type. They were holding hands. My chest tightened. My brother's hotel wasn't small, beachfront, high-end, known for privacy. She didn't pick a random place. She picked somewhere expensive, somewhere romantic, somewhere she felt safe enough to cheat. "Did she see you?" I asked. "No," he said. "I watched from the office. She has no clue I'm here today. You want me to do anything?" "Yes," I said. "Keep your eyes open, and don't let her know." He lowered his voice. "You booking a flight?" I stood up and pulled my suitcase from the closet. "I'm already packing." "I'll cover the room next to hers," he said. "You come straight to me when you land." I hung up, walked into the living room, and stared at the photos on the wall. Us, smiling. Us, traveling. Us, looking like we had a happy life. She fooled everyone. She fooled me. Or maybe I fooled myself. I zipped my suitcase, grabbed my passport, locked the door, and left without a note. She didn't deserve one. She wanted secrecy. She would get silence. The airport was packed, but I moved through it like a ghost. No expression, no hesitation. I bought a ticket on the next available flight, 5 hours in the air, 5 hours to think, 5 hours to picture her laughing on a balcony with some man who wasn't me. On the plane, a flight attendant smiled and asked, "Vacation or work?" I stared out the window. Neither. I didn't sleep. I didn't watch a movie. I kept hearing her voice saying, "business trip." I kept seeing her suitcase by the door that morning. I kept replaying every moment that now looked like a lie. When we landed, I texted my brother, "Here." He responded instantly, "Front entrance, I'll meet you." Outside, the warm island air hit me hard. Palm trees swayed over a clear night sky. Paradise. Beautiful. Peaceful. And somewhere inside, my wife was living a lie. My brother pulled up in a hotel cart, hat low, sunglasses on even though it was dark. "Didn't want anyone to recognize me," he said. "Hop in." I climbed in, and we drove across the property. Beautiful pools, lit walkways, couples holding hands. All of it felt like a joke. "She checked in yesterday," he said. "I have footage." We reached his office. He unlocked the door, closed the blinds, and turned on the security screen. Cameras flickered through hallways, elevators, lobbies. Then he clicked one file and pressed play. My wife entered the lobby, suitcase rolling behind her. She handed her ID to the receptionist. She smiled. Not nervous, not guilty, excited. A minute later, a man walked in behind her, tall, confident. He put his arm around her waist, kissed her cheek, and they laughed like two people who thought the world was their playground. The video kept rolling. They got their key. They held hands as they stepped into the elevator. His hand slid down her back. She didn't look like she missed me. She didn't look like she had a husband. "She's in the top floor suite," my brother said. "Big balcony, ocean view. I put you in the room right next to hers." My stomach twisted. "You think she's inside now?" "Oh yeah," he said. "The bags never left. And I sent housekeeping to her floor earlier. They heard voices. 2. I rubbed my face. "I'm seeing her tonight." He opened a drawer and handed me a room card. "Here, you check in quietly." I walked out of the office and crossed the lobby. Every step made my pulse hit harder. I rode the elevator to the top floor. When the doors opened, the hallway smelled like ocean mist and luxury. I found my room, slid the key, and stepped inside. From my balcony, I could see theirs. Curtains half open, lights dimmed, 2 glasses on the table, a dress thrown over a chair. Her voice floated through the quiet evening, soft, playful. She laughed. She never laughed like that with me anymore. I gripped the railing until my knuckles went white. I wanted to storm into their room. I wanted to tear the walls down. But I didn't come here to yell. I came here to end something clean. My phone buzzed, a message from my wife. "Just landed in California. Busy day tomorrow. Love you." I stared at the screen. A lie, typed from a bed she shared with another man. I texted back, "Glad you landed safe." Outside, a door opened. Soft footsteps. A shadow moved across the balcony next to mine. I looked sideways. It was her, hair down, wearing a robe, looking out at the ocean like she deserved the view. Then the man stepped behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. She leaned into him and whispered something I couldn't hear. I stepped back, heart pounding, chest burning. I went inside and closed the curtains. Tomorrow, she would see me. Tomorrow, the vacation she built on lies would crumble. Tomorrow, she would learn what happens when a husband stops trusting quietly. I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark hotel room listening through the wall. Their laughter, the clink of glasses, soft music, and then silence that told me everything without a single sound. When the sun rose, I walked onto the balcony again. Their curtains were still closed. The ocean waves crashed against the shore, and somewhere in that room she was waking up next to the man she chose over her vows. My brother texted, "Breakfast buffet, 8 a.m., they made a reservation?" Good. I needed to see her face when she realized I wasn't in California, trusting her like a fool. I showered, dressed, and walked downstairs. The sunlight was warm, but I felt cold inside. I waited near the restaurant entrance while couples walked in smiling hand in hand. Then I saw her. Hair brushed, summer dress, no guilt, no hesitation. She walked beside him, talking softly, touching his shoulder like she was single and free. They were laughing at something he said, like a couple on honeymoon. For a moment, I wondered how long this had been going on. This trip wasn't a mistake. It was routine, familiar, comfort. She didn't notice me yet. The hostess greeted them. "Good morning. 2 for the ocean terrace?" "That's us," the man said, placing his hand on her lower back. The same place I used to touch her. Now it made my stomach twist. They turned toward the patio, and that's when her eyes met mine. She froze mid-step. The smile died. Color left her face. Her hand fell away from him. He looked confused. "Babe? What's wrong?" She didn't answer. She stared at me like she saw a ghost. The hostess smiled politely. "Table is this way." Neither of them moved. I stepped forward, calm, steady, controlled. "Interesting destination for a business trip." Her voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" Her lover straightened, defensive. Who is this? I looked him dead in the eyes. Her husband. His expression changed fast. Shock, then panic. People at nearby tables turned to look. Guests whispered. My wife's breathing turned shallow, eyes darting like she wanted to run. She whispered, "Please, not here." "Oh, here is perfect," I said. "You wanted privacy. You got an audience instead." The hostess stepped back, unsure what she walked into. The man grabbed her arm, trying to guide her away. "Let's talk somewhere else. Come on." My brother appeared a few steps behind me, hands in his pockets. Calm, but ready. He nodded once. I didn't need him to speak. My wife looked at him, then at me. Realization hit her hard. My brother manages this. "Hotel," I said. "You picked the wrong island." The man let go of her arm slowly. His confidence faded. "You didn't say you were married." She snapped, "You said you were separated." There it was, their lies colliding, both of them blaming the other. People kept watching. Phones came out, cameras up. Cheaters don't panic like criminals. They panic like actors caught without a script. I stepped aside and pointed toward the exit. "Both of you, outside, now." She followed, shaking. He tried to act calm, but his hands were trembling. Outside, the ocean air hit us, but nothing about the moment felt calm. She finally found her voice. "Listen, I can explain." "No," I said. "You already explained? You're in Hawaii with him? And you told me you were in California." He raised his hands as if surrendering. "Look, this doesn't have to get messy." I stepped closer. "Messy started when you touched my wife." He backed up. We thought you were separated." I stared at my wife. "Separated?" She stuttered. I didn't know how to leave. I thought if I disappeared for a few days, I'd figure it out." "So you came here to think?" I said. "Holding hands in the lobby? Kissing on the balcony? Sharing a bed?" No one spoke. The truth was loud enough. He tried to take control again. "Look, man, this is between you and her." I turned to him. "Not anymore." I handed him a folded paper. My brother printed it earlier from hotel records. A bill, every meal, every drink, every night, charged to room 512, under her maiden name, linked to her credit card. "There's your evidence," I said. "Enjoy the bill. She's moving out when she lands." My wife burst into tears, real tears this time. Not guilt, fear. She reached for me. "Please don't leave me alone. We can talk." I stepped back. "You talked when you booked the plane ticket. Everything after that was performance." The man looked at her, disgust creeping across his face. "You said he didn't care about you." She wiped her face. I thought he wouldn't find out." That sentence told me everything. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry her lie failed. I spoke quietly. "You're flying home today. Not with me, not in my house, not in my life." She shook her head. "What about us? About our marriage? You ended it in that room upstairs." She collapsed against the wall, crying into her hands. The man stepped away from her like she was something he didn't want to touch anymore. My brother walked up to him. "Your room is canceled. Find another hotel." He blinked. "She paid for it." My brother smiled. "I don't care." Security walked over. The man looked around, embarrassed, defeated. He grabbed his bag and walked down the path toward the parking lot. My wife watched him leave, abandoned by the same man she destroyed our marriage for. When he disappeared, she turned to me again. "I love you," she whispered. "No," I said. "You love the comfort I gave you." She sobbed harder. "Please, I made a mistake." "A mistake stops after one bad decision," I said. "This was days, weeks, maybe months. You didn't make a mistake. You built a double life." She reached for my arm. I stepped back. "My brother will escort you to the airport," I said. "Your return ticket is already printed." Her voice dropped to a broken whisper. "Where will I go? You have friends, you have family, but you don't have me." She stared at me like the world just ended. Maybe it did, because the man she cheated with didn't want her, and the man she married walked away. My brother signaled security. They approached calmly. She looked at me one last time. "I'm sorry." I nodded once. "I know." She followed security toward the exit. The sound of her crying faded with every step. I walked back to the balcony, stared at the ocean, and breathed. My chest didn't hurt anymore. My mind didn't race. The truth was clean. She lied, she cheated, and she lost. But the story wasn't finished, because later that night, the man she cheated with returned. Not to apologize, to explain something I never saw coming. I stayed on the balcony for a long time after they were gone. The waves kept hitting the shore, steady and calm, like nothing in the world had changed. I expected anger, I expected heartbreak, but all I felt was silence. Smooth, sharp, final. I didn't lose a wife. I lost someone who pretended to be one. Around midnight, someone knocked on my door. I knew who it was before I opened it. The man stood there alone, hands in his pockets, no confidence this time. His shirt was wrinkled. His voice was low. "Mind if I talk?" I didn't move. "Make it quick." He stepped inside but stayed near the door. He wasn't trying to look tough anymore. He looked tired. "I didn't come back to fight," he said. "I came to tell you something." I didn't sit. I didn't offer him a chair. "Say it." He exhaled. "I didn't know she was married. She told me you were separated, that you were controlling, that she needed to escape." "She lied," I said. He nodded. "Yeah, I figured that out today." I crossed my arms. "You flew across the ocean with her. That's not a first-day thing." He shook his head. "We've been together 6 months. 6 months, half a year, while she slept in my bed." He kept talking. "She told me you were cold. She said you stopped caring. She said you didn't want kids. She painted you as the reason she was unhappy." That stung. Not because it was true, but because it was the story she built to excuse what she wanted. "She took pictures of us," he said. "Showed her friends. Told them she finally found love." My jaw tightened. Was that supposed to make me feel better? "No," he said. "It's supposed to warn you. She wasn't cheating because she fell for me. She was cheating because she needed attention. Anyone who looked her way would have done." He reached into his pocket and handed me a phone. "My phone," he said. "Messages, photos. If you need them for the divorce, take them. I don't need anything from you." He nodded once. "Fair, but I don't want her anymore. And I don't want her doing this to another man who trusts her." His voice dropped lower. "She didn't just cheat with me." My eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" He looked down. "There were others. I found messages yesterday. I didn't say anything because I wanted to see how far she'd lie. She never stopped." That sentence landed like a punch. I thought I knew the size of the betrayal. I didn't. There was more rot under the surface. "How many?" I asked. "3 at least." Silence filled the room. He took a step back toward the door. "You didn't deserve this. You're not the man she said you were." I opened the door and pointed. "Leave." He walked out without another word. I closed the door and stood there, hands on the frame, breathing slow. 6 months. Multiple men. Lies on top of lies. She didn't slip. She didn't make a mistake. She built a separate life brick by brick, thinking I would never see it. I walked to the balcony and stared at the ocean again. The wind felt different now, lighter, cleaner. She never loved me. She loved what I gave her. And when that wasn't enough to feed her ego, she stole attention from anywhere she could. By morning, I checked out of the hotel and hugged my brother goodbye. "You did the right thing," he said. "I know." He shook my hand, but it felt more like a goodbye to a version of myself that no longer existed. I flew home, unpacked, changed the locks, called a lawyer, signed the papers. Everything moved fast because there was nothing left to save. 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. Her. "I moved out of the apartment," she said, "and can we talk?" "No. I'm sorry. I'm done." She started crying. "You don't understand. I made mistakes." "No," I said. "You made choices." "You loved me," she whispered. "I did," I said. "But I love myself more now." She waited for something, anger, sympathy, weakness, but I didn't give her any. "Goodbye," I said and hung up. That night I sat alone in my living room. No pain, no questions, just peace. The kind you earn when you stop holding on to someone who was pulling you underwater. The next morning I drove to the coast, walked along the sand. The sky was clear, families laughed, couples talked, life moved forward, and so did I. She flew to Hawaii to hide her affair. She thought distance would protect her. She thought I would never find out. But lies don't stay buried. They float to the surface. She lost her marriage, her lover, and her image. I lost nothing worth keeping. If you enjoyed this story, wait for the next one.